He still sleeps in the house. He still eats from the same bowl. He still walks through the same rooms he's known for years. But there's something different now. A distance that has nothing to do with meters. When you call him, he looks. But it's a look that goes right through you, as if searching for someone who used to be there and isn't anymore. You are present, physically present. But Epictetus, the slave philosopher who became a master of inner freedom, knew a cruel truth. Being there is not the same as being present. No man is free who is not master of himself, he wrote. And perhaps the animal that withdraws is the first to realize when you have ceased to be master of your own presence. He hasn't abandoned you. He just stopped feeling you. Because there is a difference between having a body in the environment and having a soul inhabiting that body. And animals with that silent wisdom that we don't need to understand to respect can feel when you are there, but are no longer with yourself. Epictetus spent his life studying the nature of true presence. As a slave, he learned that the body can be imprisoned, but the mind can be free. As a philosopher, he discovered the opposite, that the body can be free, but the mind can be in the cruelest of prisons, the prison of self-absence. And perhaps the animal that withdraws is not rejecting you. Perhaps it is only responding to your own self-rejection, because when you stop inhabiting your own life, when your thoughts are always somewhere else, when your emotions are disconnected, when your soul is absent, he feels it. He feels that you have become a shadow of who you used to be. And animals don't connect with shadows, they connect with presences. This is the truth that Epictetus understood. The quality of your presence determines the quality of all your connections. And sometimes the withdrawal of someone you love is not about them. It's about you having withdrawn from yourself first. If the animal that has always been close has started to distance itself for no apparent reason, perhaps the reason is not apparent to you, but it is obvious to him. You try to remember when it started. Was it after that difficult conversation? After that day at work? After that night when you stayed awake thinking about things you couldn't solve? It doesn't matter when, it matters how. How you started living on autopilot, how you started responding without listening, how you started looking without seeing, how you started being present without being present. Epictetus called this prosoche, mindful attention to the present moment. And he knew that most people live their entire lives without ever really arriving where their bodies are. You are an actor in a play that the author wanted to be this way. If short, then short. If long, then long. If he wants you to play a beggar, play even that with talent. And in the same way, if a cripple, or a public official, or an ordinary citizen. But what if you stopped playing any role? What if you simply, stopped being in the play? The animal that withdraws feels this. He feels when you become an extra in your own life, when your answers become automatic, when your gestures become empty, when you are there. But your soul is somewhere between the past you can't accept and the future you can't control. Epictetus lost his physical freedom as a child, but he gained something deeper, the freedom to choose where to place his attention, and he discovered that presence is a choice you make every moment. You choose to be here, or you choose to be lost in the labyrinths of your own mind. The animal knows which one you chose. Do you remember the last time you really looked at him? Not that distracted look while checking your cell phone, not that hurried look before leaving for an appointment. That look that saw, that recognized, that was completely present for that moment, that creature, that connection. When was it? Weeks? Months? Epictetus taught that the undisciplined mind is like a wild horse. It takes you where it wants, not where you need to go. And perhaps you have let your mind take you so far away from yourself that when you come home you don't even recognize yourself anymore. The animal recognizes. He feels that the person with whom he created a bond is simply no longer available. Not physically, you are still there, still filling his bowl, still opening the door. But emotionally, spiritually, energetically, you have become a ghost of yourself. And animals don't bond with ghosts. It is not the facts that disturb men, but the judgments they make of the facts, Epictetus wrote. And perhaps the animal that withdraws is not reacting to the facts of your life, but to the judgment you made of them, to the way you decided to carry that pain. to the way you chose to get lost in that problem, to the way you allowed that worry to consume you from the inside, until there was nothing left of you to offer to those who want to be close. You are still here. Your body, your gestures, your routine. But where is your soul? Where is that quality of attention that made him look for you when you came home? Where is that presence that made him want to sleep by your side? Where is that energy that made him feel that you two were truly together, and not just sharing the same space? Epictetus knew that self-absence is the cruelest of loneliness, because you can be surrounded by people, by animals, by life, and still be completely alone. Alone because you abandoned the only place where you can really find company, the present moment. The animal that withdraws is not punishing you. It is showing you the reflection of something you haven't had the courage to see yet, that you withdrew from yourself first, and that he just followed the movement. Anna went through a period of intense anxiety at work. For months, she lived in survival mode. She woke up thinking about the problems, slept thinking about the solutions, ate thinking about what could go wrong. Physically, she was at home every night. Mentally, she was trapped in an infinite loop of worries. Loki, her Siberian husky, started acting strange. He stopped looking for her when she arrived. He stopped sleeping in the bed. He spent his time on the balcony looking outside, as if waiting for someone. One day, Anna realized, he's waiting for me and I'm here. But she wasn't, not really. Epictetus taught that the disturbed mind creates a kind of present absence. You are there, but your consciousness is fragmented, divided, lost among 1,000 thoughts that do not serve the current moment. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and bad-tempered. Not because we should expect the worst, but because we should be prepared to remain present regardless of the circumstances. Michael faced a complicated divorce. During the process, which lasted almost a year, he functioned on autopilot. He got up, worked, came home, took care of Bella, his golden retriever. But he was always somewhere else, in the lawyer's office, in the last argument, in the uncertain future. Bella started looking for company elsewhere. She spent hours at the neighbor's house. When Michael called, she came, but without enthusiasm, like someone obeying a stranger. She treated me like I was a visitor in my own house, he said later. And maybe I was. Epictetus knew that presence is not a natural state. It is a discipline. It is the constant practice of bringing the mind back to the here and now. And when we abandon this discipline, we become strangers in our own life. Lisa went through a period of silent depression. Not the dramatic depression of the movies, the gray functional depression in which you do everything you need to do, but without inhabiting any of the gestures, like an emotional robot. Zen, her Siamese cat, had always been attached to her. He slept on her lap during movies, followed her around the house, purred at the exact moment she arrived from work. But during the most difficult months, he simply stopped. He didn't stop living in the house. He stopped living with her. It was like he knew I wasn't really there to receive affection, she reflected, so he stopped offering it. Epictetus understood that animals operate by an instinctive wisdom that humans have lost. They respond to the energetic quality of presence, not to its external appearance. James had a phase of workaholism that lasted 2 years. He arrived home physically exhausted, but mentally still accelerated. He sat on the sofa with Rex, his Labrador, but he was always checking emails, thinking about the next day's meeting, planning strategies. Rex started sleeping in the kitchen, then in the backyard. When James tried to call him to watch TV together, Rex came, but he was restless, as if he realized that there was no real space for him there. I was offering crumbs of attention, James realized later, and he knew he deserved more. Epictetus's lesson on presence is not romantic, it is practical. He knew that when you are not completely present, you have nothing real to offer anyone, not even to yourself, not even to those you love. Sarah went through an existential crisis at 35. She questioned all her choices, relived all the lost opportunities, projected alternative scenarios for her life. She was physically present, but emotionally inhabited a parallel reality made of what if and should have. Mimi, her Persian cat, always slept curled up on her neck. But during the months of crisis, she started sleeping further and further away. First in the same bed, but at the feet, then in the armchair, then in another room. It was like she knew I was no longer available for real intimacy, Sarah said. As if she realized that my mind was somewhere else or in another time. The animal that withdraws is not being cruel or ungrateful. It is being honest. It is responding to the truth that you don't want to face yet, that you have absented yourself. And that absence recognizes absence. Epictetus knew something that most people take a lifetime to learn. The quality of your presence is the quality of your life. You are a principal actor in the drama of life that God has chosen for you, he wrote. If it is a short role, play it well. If long, play it well too. But what if you stopped acting? What if you simply left the stage, but forgot to tell your body? The animal that withdraws is reminding you of something fundamental. You cannot give what you do not have, and if you are not present for yourself, you cannot be present for anyone. Epictetus called this hegemonikon, the governing part of the soul, the command center of consciousness. When the hegemonikon is absent, dispersed, lost in thoughts about the past or anxieties about the future, you become a ghost of yourself. A ghost can occupy space, but it cannot create connection. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to what happens to you that matters, Epictetus taught. And perhaps the most important reaction is the choice to be present for what is happening, including the withdrawal of someone you love. The animal did not withdraw to punish you, it withdrew because there is no one there to connect with. Think about it. When was the last time you were 100% present during an interaction with him, without a cell phone in your hand, without your mind wandering, without rushing to finish and go do something else? When was the last time you petted him and really felt the texture of his fur, the temperature of his body, his breathing, instead of just running your hand automatically while thinking about other things? Epictetus practiced presence exercises every day. He called this prosoche, vigilant attention to the present moment, because he knew that presence is not a state you reach once and then maintain. It is a choice you make with every breath. The animal knows when you make that choice, and knows when you don't. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are under our control, and others are not, Epictetus wrote. And perhaps the most important thing under your control is the decision to inhabit your own life, to be where you are, to be who you are, to choose presence instead of absence. The animal that has withdrawn does not need you to change your whole life. He needs you to come back to your life, to stop living as a tourist in your own existence and go back to being a resident. There is a practice that Epictetus recommended to his students. Every time you realize that your mind has wandered, that you are absent from the present moment, take a break, breathe, and make a conscious choice to come back. Come back to the here, come back to the now, come back to yourself. The animal feels when you make that choice. He feels when you stop functioning on autopilot and go back to inhabiting your own gestures, when you stop looking through him and go back to seeing him, when you stop touching him distractedly and go back to petting him with presence. You have two options. You can take control of your mind, or you can let your mind take control of you, said Epictetus. And perhaps the animal that has withdrawn is a silent teacher of this truth. He is showing you the consequences of having let your mind take control. He is showing you what life is like when you live on autopilot. He is showing you what happens when you abandon presence. But he is also offering you an opportunity. The opportunity to come back. Not to him, he will come back naturally when you come back, but to yourself, to the version of you that knows how to be completely present for a moment, a breath, a connection. Epictetus believed that true freedom is the ability to choose your response in any situation. And at this moment, you have a choice. You can get frustrated with the animal that has withdrawn, or you can use his withdrawal as a mirror to see where you have withdrawn from yourself, and then make the choice to come back. Epictetus died old, but he never forgot the lessons he learned when he was young and a slave. The greatest of them, you can lose everything that is external, but you always have the power to choose how to respond internally. And perhaps this is the final lesson that the animal that has withdrawn is trying to teach you, that you lost something, you lost yourself, but that you can choose to come back. No man is free who is not master of himself, Epictetus wrote, and the animal that has distanced itself is showing you what life is like when you are not master of your own presence. Empty, automatic, disconnected. He didn't abandon you, he just stopped pretending you were there. And perhaps that's what you needed to see. That being physically present is not enough. That occupying space is not the same as inhabiting your life. That you can be at home and still be lost. His silence is not punishment. It is an invitation. An invitation for you to return to where you should always have been, completely present in your own existence. Epictetus taught that true discipline is not controlling what happens around you. It is controlling where you place your attention. And during all this time that he withdrew, your attention was anywhere except in the present moment. In the work you needed to finish, in the relationship you needed to fix, in the future you needed to plan, in the past you needed to process. Anywhere except here. He was here, waiting for you. And when he realized that you wouldn't come, that your mind was permanently somewhere else, he did what animals do. He stopped wasting emotional energy on those who are not available to receive it. But this story doesn't have to end like this, because Epictetus also taught that you can always choose to come back, at any moment, with any breath. You can make the choice to get out of autopilot and go back to being the pilot of your own consciousness. The animal will feel it. Not immediately. He needs to be sure that you have really come back, that it is not just a temporary visit to your own life. But when he realizes that you have chosen to be present, that you have chosen to come back to yourself, he will come back too. Not to you, with you. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants, said Epictetus. And perhaps the only thing you really need to restore the connection is one, the discipline of presence, the discipline of being where you are, the discipline of seeing what is in front of you, the discipline of feeling what is happening now. The animal that has withdrawn is not waiting for grand gestures or dramatic changes. He is waiting for you to make the simplest and most difficult choice in the world, to be present. Present for this moment, present for this breath, present for him, present for yourself. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it, Epictetus taught. Stop trying to explain why he withdrew. Embody the presence that he is waiting to feel in you. He doesn't want your words. He wants your soul back, the soul that absented itself and that can choose to come back. His silence was not abandonment. It was waiting, waiting for you to come home, to the home that is your own body, your own mind, your own life. When you come back, he will know, and then he will come back too. Like if you recognize that you withdrew from yourself before he withdrew from you. Comment if you understand now that presence is a choice you make every moment, and share with those who still believe that animals withdraw for no reason, and do not realize that the reason may be in the very absence of those they love.